Good morning, dear students. This is teacher Lorena, and I'm going to be explaining to you a little bit more about the approaches, methods, procedures, and techniques, which was our final topic yesterday. So I hope that with this explanation you can have a better idea of what's the difference between these terms. So let's see. This is the chart that we were discussing yesterday. Approach, method, procedure, and technique. As I explained yesterday, an approach is a theory or an explanation about the nature of language and the language learning. That explanation is the basis for the practices or the things that you will finally do in the classroom. Then we have a method. The method is basically the activities, the practical realization of the approach or the explanation. Then we have procedure, which is the sequence, your decisions that you take as a teacher regarding what activity will be first, what activity will be second, third, and so on. And well, each classroom activity is also called technique. So I want to give you an example, and I hope that with this example you can have a better idea of what's the difference between these terms. So I explained that approaches is equal to theories or explanations that scientists invent about the language learning process. There are many of these theories and explanations. One example is this linguist, which is named Stephen Krashen. Stephen Krashen believed that language is learned in a natural way. By this, he meant that the listening skill is the first one to be acquired. Second is speaking. And finally, when you go to school, then you learn to read and write. So Stephen Krashen explained the language learning process based on the way children to speak, learn to use the language. So babies, according to him, the first thing they do is to listen to the different expressions or words that their parents use. And then after that, after listening and understanding what the people around them are saying, they start to speak and to use the expressions and the words they are listening around them. So all this happened during the first years of age, and then when a little kid goes to school, in that place they learn, or he learns to read and to write. So according to Stephen Krashen, this is the process in which human beings learn a language, and then this same process should be applied to learn a second language such as English. So Krashen invented a method to teach English based on his theory or approach. He named the method the natural approach. The classes that apply this method only teach listening and speaking at the beginning. Later, they teach reading and writing. The sequence of activities used in this method is very special. It's particular to this method. So, if we analyze a different method, not the natural approach, but another one, we would see a different sequence of activities. By the way, a sequence of activities is the procedure, and each one of the activities are also called techniques. So this is an example of an approach, a method, a procedure, and also techniques. This is only one example because Stephen Krashen is only one person of the many out there who try to explain how human beings learn languages. So here we have Stephen Krashen and the natural approach. This is his explanation about how we learn a language. Another person who is also very famous is Noam Chomsky. He is also a linguist and he created the cognitive approach. So with this explanation, he tried to understand how humans learn a language. So that's a different story, and I could also explain the method and the procedure and techniques that Noam Chomsky suggested. So these are just people try to offer a solution to the question of how human beings learn a language. Now here is your assignment. So I ask you to create a diagram to represent these terms. So here we have definitions of the terms. What's an approach, what's a method, what's a procedure, and what's a technique. The diagram should be created using figures. It's up to you what you want to create. The diagram needs to reflect that you really understand what is an approach, what is a method, what's a procedure, and what's a technique, and how these four terms are connected one to each other. So that's it. I hope this explanation can help you to understand better these definitions. Thank you.